if you spend a lot of time on the bay, if you're a fisherman, you go to the seagrass beds or the oyster bars in order to catch fish. Seagrasses grow along the bottom of the bay. They are a grass like the grass in your lawn. As they cover the bottom of the bay, they need light to grow. And when you have poor water quality, you have a lot of nutrients causing these algae blooms that shades out the seagrass beds. Over the last 150 years, we probably lost about 81% of our seagrass beds as a whole to urbanization activities. Now, we've been able to bring a lot of that back, and using about 1950 as the standard, we're able to reach our targets that had been set in Tampa Bay. But as we pointed out a couple of times, we've lost about 30% of that gain from the Tampa Bay estuary because of a lot of the different problems that are occurring recently, as well as climate change being added to the mix. But these communities grow on the bottom of the bay, extremely productive in terms of fisheries and shellfish and other habitat resources, but they also help to improve water quality by stabilizing the bottom, filtering out the water as well. So the health of Tampa Bay is really driven by seagrass. When you get the good seagrass numbers, you know you're heading in the right direction in Tampa Bay.
Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah, I think Peter did a great job talking about the importance of seagrass, and I think what we're concerned about at the Tampa Bay Estuary Program in particular is where there hasn't been recovery as of late from that dip since 2016. And one of the bay segments in particular, Old Tampa Bay, is where we are probably going to be at an all-time record low, all-time, even going back to like 1950s, 1980 estimates in Old Tampa Bay. That's that area of the bay where the three bridges span from Pinellas and Hillsborough County. There's places in Old Tampa Bay where there's been lush seagrass beds for a number of years, and it's barren flat. And that's scary to me because that is a significant area of Tampa Bay that has struggled in the past, but we've never lost the amount of seagrasses that we have over the past 8 years. And it's almost analogous to the tipping point that is seen on the other coast in Indian River Lagoon about 2010, when there's significant seagrass declines, and then there's all these cascading ecological events, harmful algal blooms. There was impacts to manatees because they had no food resources. We're getting to that point in Old Tampa Bay. We're almost beyond a tipping point, and we need to recognize that something needs to be done. And it's not one smoking gun to fix that bay segment. Nutrients play a big part, continue to reduce nutrients flowing into that bay segment, but there's really poor tidal circulation because of the causeways in that bay segment as well that have led to seasonal summertime harmful algal blooms that produce a similarly rust-colored red tide like condition, but it's actually caused by Pyridinium bahamense, which produces a toxin. People don't know about that, but that happens every summer in Old Tampa Bay. That affects sort of the persistence of seagrass through shading out the light that can reach the bay bottom. That's been going on since the 2010s, and we need to get a hold of that situation. And it's not, like I said, one smoking gun. It's multiple things and levers that need to be pulled as a management community, focused on reducing nutrients, improving tidal circulation, looking at ways that we could implement green infrastructure to handle these new deluges of stormwater that are entering in that system and are the primary loading and sources of nutrients flowing into that bay segment. So those are the things that we need to do. We need to get real about in Old Tampa Bay, or else we stand to lose a whole lot more seagrass over the next 5-10 years.
There's a lot of problems going on in Upper Tampa Bay, and interesting fact, Lake Tarpon drains down to the northern part of Upper Tampa Bay. It never used to drain to Upper Tampa Bay. It drained north to the Anclo River. Well, we had some hurricanes back in the early 1960s, so the Army Corps of Engineers constructed this large drainage canal to drain Lake Tarpon south into northern Tampa Bay. And because of that, we have all these extra nutrients that really don't belong in that part of the bay, and they've literally been building up for years and years and years. So in many cases, we're still dealing with problems that were created, in this case, back in the 1960s. So there's some tough problems going on in Upper Tampa Bay. Be working on that for a long time.
And, just to follow up on that, that's getting back to the point where we're thinking about water resources holistically. That's also being considered as an alternative water supply for the region, our need for fresh, clean water. That water could be used for drinking water supply rather than discharged into upper Old Tampa Bay with its latent nutrient burden that goes into that bay segment. So we need to start thinking about across agencies, what are the best uses of that water? How do we meet the needs of our community while also improving the ecosystem? And there's ways to do that. We just need to, like I said, invest in them.